Carol is always kind of thinking about and intermarrying what she sees with what she knows.
With her, she's totally unexpected.
Incredibly bright, incredibly passionate.
That she's generous and that she's also thought-provoking.
Carol is a bundle of creative energy.
She's so talented.
I have to do this. I'm driven to do this. This is me.
My art is totally evanescent. It does not stay in the same place. Right now, I'm painting digital images, collage, but in 6 months, I'll be painting something completely different. And a lot of people have said to me, but you know, you have to have a style, there has to be some continuity. Their continuity is that my whole life is like a kaleidoscope. And my work is a metaphor for just all this pastiche of little things that I see in the world. And a lot of times, I don't know what it means when I do it. I don't know where it's going even in a piece. But I know that it will be my quirky take on the world.
You know, in the beginning, I'd always felt that my paintings had to be cheerful and they had to be lively because that's my outer persona. But inside, there were a lot of unresolved issues, real ambivalence about people and events in my life.
So for me right now, I like my art to be on multiple levels so that someone can look at it and they like it or whatever, they have an opinion. But if they're willing to put a little more effort into it, they can discover those levels and they can see something more symbolic, something deeper.
It's the reason why she's so talented. But if you look at the painting she did 10 years ago, 5 years ago, and now it has nothing to do, and you think it's another artist.
She's got a mind that doesn't stop, that goes in 65 directions at once. And she's really prodigious and, in fact, ends up with, you know, this incredible body of work that's really impressive.
You know, I'm influenced by what's going on around me, but also lately, in the last 2 or 3 years, I've been really influenced by technology. And I think that's had an interesting effect on my work because I love computers and I love the graphic aspects of it. And I think it's interesting for me to combine digital material that is original, little, you know, pixels that I take out of a snapshot, and combine them with the more traditional techniques of painting. I was a printmaking major. And, you know, who would have thought when I was rubbing away at my etchings, you know, that you would be able to hit a filter in Photoshop and, you know, get any effect that you wanted in 2 seconds and undo it in 2 seconds. And then print it and play with it, you know, and interact with it so that it's not static, but it's something that you really can use as a self-expression.
When she does her thing to it, it goes from being just a printed out piece to something that's quite interesting and different. It's fascinating to see what someone can do with technology and creativity.
My most recent one-man show was inspired by a trip to Indonesia. It was really fascinating to try and use technology to capture the spiritual quality of Bali. I call it Voyageur, Voyeur.
And really what the theme of it is came about from, I was in the Spice Islands, and we were looking at something in some sultan's palace and all these dancing girls and all this stuff. Totally staged. Everything was completely staged, prepackaged, pseudo.
And one of the other women on the tour with me looked at me and said, I wonder who's more exploited here, the Balinese or the tourists?
And to me that was just like, all of a sudden, click, 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 oh yes, I saw the whole thing. It's the sort of law of physics, okay? The presence of the observer changes the outcome of the experiment. My presence in Bali, at this village, Sumbawa, in the middle of nowhere, every Tuesday, the same bride gets married. Every Tuesday, they have buffalo races, okay? So it's all staged, it's all fake. But when you take a picture of it and you take the picture home, people think you've seen a Balinese wedding. And so for me, all of a sudden I realized we don't understand the impact of globalization. So that's where I kind of took the theme of Voyageur, Voyeur, that the Voyager The modern tourist, the person going into a primitive culture, wants to see the nature of it, but he also wants to have cappuccino when he gets back on the bus. We need to poke a little fun at it. So part of this show, some of the pieces in it, are just total spoofs on the intrusion of our global culture, if you will, into this beautiful, peaceful place where everyone was very happy.
When people see my art, I want a reaction. I want to move them. I want them to feel the same jolt that I felt when I first saw the places and got the ideas. I want them to feel the ambivalence that I feel about globalization.
The work that you're seeing here today is much of it's thought-provoking, much of it's discomforting, and much of it is things that I don't necessarily want to be faced with. Thank you very much. But on the other hand, it's also that the balance of it, the balance of interest, and color, and texture, and creativity all rolled into one.
So excited to see the difference in her work between the time she started and its fruition. And the conveyance of mood is what is wonderful. Just carried through from start to finish.
I've introduced a lot of people to Bali over time, and she's someone who totally got it. And she brings her own kind of overlay, which is this kind of intellectual understanding of the globalization of the world. And I love The Real Thing, which is this very kind of forward piece about Coca-Cola. The image represents what she actually saw in Bali, but I love the Balinese for celebrating and decorating and painting in a way that, you know, that image captures.
I think you can look at what you're seeing here and see a lot of the passion in terms of the color and the composition, and just the titles, and trying to tie in your own mind the meaning of what you're seeing with the title. But it's really great. It's fun to see it all pulled together. And we bought the first piece of the opening. It's called Dance Practice, I believe.
I love the paintings. I think there's so much fun in her graphics, and I love the colors. And most of all, I think she has a fabulous sense of humor.
Everything about me is always changing. My idea of life is you're always growing, you're moving forward. So I just can't paint the same way. So when somebody asks me to describe my art, sometimes it's pen and ink sketches, sometimes it's collage with origami bits, sometimes it's found objects glued on wood panels. Next week it could be sculpture. I mean, I really don't know what it will be, but I know that I have to do this. I'm driven to do this. This is me. I'm expressing myself. And you know what? Anything goes.